Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this Job Accommodation Network webcast titled Unleashing Value and Talent, Jan and Earn Resources for Today's Workforce. My name is Tracy DeFreitas. I'm a Jan Program Leader and the Director of Training and Outreach. Joining me today is a very special guest from Jan's sister Technical Assistance Center, the Employer Assistance and Resource Network on Disability, Wendy Strobel-Gower, Development and Dissemination Lead for EARN. Welcome, Wendy. Thank you for joining forces with Jan again today. We do appreciate the collaboration, especially on this important outreach event.
As always, it's a pleasure, Tracy.
Now, this virtual outreach event on Jan and Earn Resources highlights the services and resources provided by the Job Accommodation Network and the Employer Assistance and Resource Network on Disability to empower workers with disabilities, employers, and policymakers to set high expectations, retain talent, and put productivity-enhancing accommodation and disability employment practices into action in today's evolving workplace. I will begin with information about Jan's services and accommodations, and then Wendy will inform us about EARN. And we'll wrap up the training by explaining how these two technical assistance centers collaborate to support employers and others. So let's begin by learning about Jan. We are happy to have everyone joining us today because it's exciting to share information about the Jan service in this outreach opportunity. I'm going to introduce the Jan service and highlight Jan's purpose, explain the role of accommodations in increasing employment opportunities for people with disabilities, and share background information regarding the Jan team and the subject matter experts, and then discuss services available for employers, individuals, and others, and explore the many tools and features available at askjan.org. So let's get started. So if you're in need of assistance exploring accommodation solutions, all you need to remember is Ask Jan because we can help. In 1983, a national project called the Job Accommodation Network had begun to enable employers across the U.S. to share information about accommodations they were making for individuals with disabilities in the workplace. Back then, Jan's services comprised two consultants providing accommodation information to employers over two telephone lines. The premise was to gather and share information about effective accommodation solutions to help more employers across the U.S. successfully employ workers with disabilities. And over the years, Jan expanded its services in both volume and scope. And when the Americans with Disabilities Act went into effect, Jan was ready to help not only employers, but also employees, service providers, and others understand this new law and the central role that workplace accommodations played in ADA compliance. And when the U.S. Department of Labor's Office of Disability Employment Policy was established in 2001, Jan became a key technical assistance resource, supporting the new agency's mission to develop and influence policies and practices that increase the number and quality of employment opportunities for people with disabilities. So today, Jan is a direct assistance service provided by ODEP and is the leading national source for practical guidance on workplace accommodations, trusted accommodation process strategies, and technical assistance on Title I of the Americans with Disabilities Act, Section 501 of the Rehab Act, and related laws. Jan provides free, confidential consultation services, expert guidance, and practical tools to help employers and others navigate the accommodation process and implement effective workplace accommodations. That's what we're all about. We're a national service that's based at West Virginia University in Morgantown, West Virginia, and we're staffed by a small team of about 25 people, including 15 consultants. That gives you a little bit about our history. Know that we're committed to increasing employment opportunities for people with disabilities through effective, tailored accommodation solutions, which really play a vital role. They can elevate the productivity of all employees and help employers attract top talent, build adaptable teams, retain experienced workers, and stay compliant with laws like the ADA. One of the non-discrimination requirements of Title I is the obligation to provide reasonable accommodation for job seekers and employees with disabilities who are qualified. We need to define accommodation. It refers to any change to the application or the hiring process, the job, or the work environment that enables a person with a disability to perform the essential functions of a job or enjoy equal employment opportunities. And it's, on this basis of providing accommodations that Jan exists. We're here to provide information to help people understand what accommodation is. Now, Jan helps users explore possible solutions as part of the accommodation process. And underlying goal is to help ensure that workers with disabilities have access to the tools and the supports that they need to succeed on the job today and into the future as well. Those tools and supports, they must be tailored to the individual. And there's no comprehensive list of required accommodations, but some accommodations can include these common accommodations, like making facilities accessible and usable, or adjusting work schedules or job duties. It can be modifying policies or equipment, allowing telework where it's reasonable, providing interpreters, readers, or job coaches as services. It could also be providing access for service or emotional support animals in the workplace, or even offering reassignment or leave when it makes sense given the situation. I think the most important thing to remember is that each accommodation is about finding the right fit for the person and the job, and there's never a one-size-fits-all solution. And that's why Jan's here to help. We can help you with those tailored, individualized situations. Also note that accommodations are often simple, low cost, and highly effective. JAN data shows that accommodations are not only typically low in cost, but also positively impact the workplace in many ways. JAN's low cost, high impact report summarizes cost and benefit data from employer surveys collected by JAN. Surveyed employers represent various industries and company sizes that previously contacted JAN for guidance on accommodations, the ADA, or both. Overall, employers do report that the benefits of workplace accommodations, they far exceed the costs, and recent survey results show that accommodations cost nothing. 61% of respondents say so. And the median cost for providing a one-time accommodation is about $300. Some of the key advantages include retaining valuable employees, boosting productivity and morale, and lowering workers' compensation and training expenses. So there's a lot of good to come from providing accommodations. You can refer to the low cost, high impact report for more details. The survey, of course, is ongoing, so insights may evolve, but these findings do highlight that employers do see the value in accommodating applicants and workers with disabilities, and JAN services and resources support their efforts. Now, a little bit more about the JAN service. JAN provides expert practical guidance on workplace accommodations and disability employment issues, offering accommodation ideas, ADA-related technical assistance, and support navigating the accommodation process for both employers and individuals. Direct assistance and resources are available by phone, email, online chat, and at askjan.org. AskJan.org offers tools, accommodation ideas, publications, and training resources for self-guided learning. A support, of course, is solution-focused and tailored to job roles and abilities. And customized accommodation ideas are tied to specific job tasks and work environments. We really help problem solve common challenges such as performance concerns, return to work situations, and changing accommodation needs. Also, we emphasize flexibility and effective solutions that work for both employers and people with disabilities. JAN also provides practical, easy to understand information on the ADA and related employment laws, focusing on education and technical assistance. We do not provide legal advice or enforcement. We do help users understand their rights and responsibilities and how to navigate the accommodation process. So we're here supporting employers and individuals through each step, emphasizing communication, collaboration, and also ongoing follow-up rather than one-time fixes. So again, JAN doesn't provide legal advice or enforce laws, but and we also do not offer advocacy services or job placement assistance. Now, individualized consultation is really central to the JAN service. JAN is highly regarded as a trusted partner in the job accommodation process, often offering that personalized expert guidance every step of the way, whether someone is applying for a job or just onboarding or has been employed for many years. We're here where you need us. And our experienced consultants provide tailored guidance, helping employers, people with disabilities, and others find practical accommodation solutions, again, based on job requirements, specific tasks, functional limitations, and the work environment. We have to consider all of this. We also provide practical strategies for effectively navigating that accommodation process, so that collaborative dialogue that leads to reasonable workplace accommodations. And with experience supporting hundreds of thousands of JAN users and responding to around 45,000 inquiries each year, JAN delivers informed, real-world guidance that meets people where they are in their understanding of the ADA and accommodations. Now, the JAN team is small, including about 25 total staff, 15 of which provide the direct consultation services. These subject matter experts specialize in various disability and ADA-related areas, offering personalized guidance, practical solutions, and relevant resources, typically at the time of contact or within 24 hours of your contact to JAN. Their expertise covers a wide range of health conditions and functional limitations, cognitive, neurological, motor mobility, sensory, and immunological, and ADA knowledge. All consulting team members provide practical guidance on Title I of the ADA, Section 501 of the Rehab Act, and related laws. And JAN also has a dedicated specialist who supports individuals with disabilities in exploring self-employment and entrepreneurship as an option. Now, while JAN is available to everyone, most inquiries, about 53%, come from employers and professionals who support them. So HR professionals, EEO specialists, accommodation coordinators, legal advisors. And these employers include private businesses of all sizes and types, federal, state, and local government agencies. Over 90% of the contacts involve accommodations that support job retention, so helping employees stay at or return to work. When employers contact JAN, they receive that free expert confidential consultation on accommodations, the ADA. We offer technical assistance to reduce ADA risk through ongoing accommodation support. So, for example, an employer might receive guidance on effective accommodations, such as assistive technology or schedule adjustments to support an employee with a disability, along with information on ADA compliance related to that specific situation. JAN also helps employers retain qualified employees with disabilities and resolve performance issues early. Now, the employers page at askjan.org is a great starting point for those seeking easy access to tools and guidance on workplace accommodations. At askjan.org, you can find the employers tab on the left side of the navigation bar. And the page really features helpful resources for processing accommodation requests, developing policies and procedures. Each section of the page includes practical resources from JAN and EARN and the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission and others. So these tools are really designed to make the accommodation process clearer, smoother, and more effective. So I'd encourage employers to take a look at that. So some key takeaways for employers: JAN offers confidential, no-cost consultations to employers that focus on job functions and practical workplace solutions, while leaving all decisions with the employer. And engaging with JAN can help reduce that ADA risk through education, not legal guidance. Of course, we support retention of employees with disabilities who are qualified by providing that accommodation assistance. Now, JAN also assists individuals. Around 40% of JAN's users are people with disabilities in all stages of the employment life cycle. Individuals contact JAN to receive free and confidential consultation, typically to receive information to help them understand their ADA rights related to reasonable accommodation, to identify potential accommodations, and to prepare for an accommodation request with an employer. So, for example, an employee might receive confidential guidance on how to request a workplace accommodation, including help identifying effective accommodation options for their disability and understanding what to expect when engaging in the accommodation process with an employer. Now, the individuals page found next to the employer's page on the navigation bar at askjan.org, is designed for people with disabilities, as well as their family members and advocates who might be working with them. It offers practical guidance on topics like how to disclose a disability and request accommodations. And it has an FAQ on the accommodation process and ADA questions that might come in. These tools can help individuals better understand their rights, communicate their needs, and navigate the accommodation process more confidently. So you can check that out. Look for the individuals page at askjan.org. Some key takeaways for individuals, people with disabilities, employees, they can contact Jan directly and confidentially to get accommodation ideas and ADA education, empowering them to engage effectively in the process and ultimately achieve successful accommodations with better workplace outcomes. Now, Jan also assists family members, advocates, union reps, and professionals such as rehabilitation, medical, and educational service providers. So just kind of remember, Jan's here for anyone who has questions about accommodations and Title I of the ADA. Rehab professionals, they might get information on assistive technologies for a client. Maybe an attorney could access resources to advise employers or employees on the ADA. Medical professionals can benefit from Jan services by learning how to support a patient's request for accommodation by providing some documentation that would help the employer understand the person's disability and their need for accommodation. We can also help union representatives. For example, they might get guidance on negotiating reasonable accommodations or resolving accommodation-related conflicts between employee and employer. And lastly, family members can use Jan services to better support a loved one with a disability. So they might receive guidance on how to advocate for that person to request a flexible schedule, for example. So assisting them in making an accommodation request. So bottom line, anyone can contact Jan for accommodation and ADA assistance. We are here to help. Now everyone has kind of learned a bit about Jan's services. I'd like to provide an overview of the askjan.org website and its many features. There's so much to take advantage of. So in addition to that one-on-one consultation that we provide, askjan.org is a great go-to resource for job accommodations and ADA information. It's a great place to start for self-guided learning and exploring accommodation options. Directly on the homepage, you can learn about Jan and the convenient ways to contact the service and easily access the employer live chat on the right side of the page. Jan announcements regarding upcoming events and new website features are included at the top, and social media posts lead to disability employment resources and insights. And midway down the page, you can access the A to Z of disabilities and accommodations. You can also tap the navigation bar at the top. And you can also find our featured resources and events, Jan newsletter, what's new in publications, and the most recently published and upcoming Jan webcast. So there's a lot to be found just right there on the homepage. But let's dive a little bit deeper. On the homepage again, you'll find some tailored resources for employers and individuals. I mentioned those. But you'll also find Workplace Accommodation Toolkit, the A to Z accommodation lists, real-world situations and solutions, plus publications and training tools. So let's start with the Workplace Accommodation Toolkit. It's a go-to resource for managing workplace accommodations. The toolkit offers clear and straightforward guidance to help employers navigate the reasonable accommodation process under the ADA and Section 501 of the Rehab Act. And it's a free resource that provides step-by-step guidance, checklists, and documentation tools for anyone involved in managing workplace accommodations, whether you're an HR professional, a supervisor, manager, or a legal expert. You can find something within the toolkit that'll help. Drawing from Jan's extensive experience and free resources, the toolkit, it includes sample processes, templates, training resources to support compliance, and effective accommodation practices. It also highlights Jan services and features and other tools at askjan.org. The toolkit was developed from Jan's decades of experience and designed with ease of use in mind. It will grow, of course, as new accommodation process best practices and strategies emerge, so you can expect that there will be additions. Of course, at Jan, we know that at the heart of a thoughtful ADA compliance is a consistent and well-documented process for handling accommodation requests. And so the toolkit is there to help. It offers that step-by-step guidance. It breaks down the accommodation process from recognizing a request to evaluating options and communicating decisions. And it features 5 sections of essential information for anyone managing accommodations. We cover the reasonable accommodation basics, that sample accommodation process, guidance and tools for documenting the process, including a checklist and a documentation log. So really encourage you to check it out, whether you're starting from scratch or reviewing existing policies and procedures. The toolkit can help you respond promptly and appropriately to accommodation requests and really engage in meaningful, individualized conversations with employees and document decisions as well. So use it to confidently navigate the accommodation process. These smart tools are here, and of course, it comes with expert guidance from Jan. So you can always contact us if you have any questions. So check out that toolkit at askjan.org. The next feature is the A to Z of disabilities and accommodations, which can be found in the left middle section of the navigation bar at askjan.org. The A to Z is an easy to navigate feature linking specific disabilities and limitations to practical workplace accommodation ideas. It includes detailed information on health conditions, job functions, sample solutions, and ADA-related guidance. And it's, of course, designed for anyone who's looking for information about accommodations. It's a great starting point. You can browse by disability, limitation, work-related function, topic, and accommodation. Now, for example, you'll find common health conditions like back impairment, diabetes, mental health conditions, pregnancy, along with related accommodation ideas. I will note, please keep in mind that the disability list is not a comprehensive list of ADA disabilities. It reflects conditions we frequently discuss with Jan users. If you don't see a specific condition or need a personalized assistance, we do encourage you to contact Jan directly. Again, we'll meet you wherever you are in the process and provide that guidance that's tailored to your situation. Now, each A to Z index topic tab provides unique, helpful information for exploring and implementing accommodations. So again, you can look by limitations, like executive functioning, lifting, reading, for example, work-related functions like moving items or people, topics like assistive technology, service animals or disclosure, and accommodation topics as well. So everyone's encouraged to check it out, explore those A to Z lists. They're a valuable tool for finding targeted guidance and resources. But as always, do contact Jan if you don't find what you need there. Another feature offered at askjan.org for exploring accommodation situations is the Situations and Solutions Finder. This is found in the middle of the navigation bar at askjan.org. And the Finder is an interactive tool that provides access to real-world examples of accommodation scenarios, and they're organized by disability, limitation, or occupation. It allows users to explore how similar accommodation situations have been addressed, and it offers practical ideas and outcomes. Now, keep in mind the Situations and Solutions Finder is not a comprehensive accommodation resource, but it offers ideas about the types of accommodations that may be possible. The tool does feature real accommodation scenarios shared by Jan users, employers, and employees, and these come from a wide range of industries and job types. Scenarios come from customer feedback that we've received, and you'll find a variety of different disabilities and limitations, and of course, different workplace settings, types of jobs, all of that. You can filter the database by keyword, disability, limitation, or occupation. And you can even save the results if you'd like to share them with someone else. Now, again, while these are not, it's not a comprehensive list of accommodations. They're helpful ideas. And again, accommodations really should be tailored to each individual and workplace related needs. So do certainly contact Jan directly for more information, or if you don't find what you need there. So start exploring those accommodation scenarios today using that Situations Finder at askjan.org. All right, the next askjan.org feature is MyJan, Found on the right middle side of the navigation bar, MyJan is a personalized tool that lets users organize any Jan published web page at askjan.org into categories like accommodation, legal, and other resources. And it provides quick access to frequently used Jan materials. It also alerts you when there's a new resource that's been published by the Jan website. Essentially, it's kind of like your own digital filing cabinet for frequently used askjan.org resources. Creating a free MyJan account requires only an email. Jan does not sell your email or use it for any other purpose. It's simply necessary so that you can have your own personalized portal. It's also possible to create a vanity account. So people across a group, such as a different department or a team, could use the same resources. So if you'd like to do that, you're welcome to do so. So you can check out the MyJan page at askjan.org to get started. All right, we're getting closer, Wendy. I'm going to pull you in here in just a second. AskJan.org also features a full library of Jan authored resources in the publications and articles section that's found on the left side of the navigation bar. It's a great place to explore trusted, practical information on job accommodations and disability employment topics. In the publications section, you'll find A to Z resources, employer and employee guides, newsletter articles, and fact sheets on workplace accommodations, and even solutions of occupation and industry. In this publication section, it's really packed with tools and information to support informed decision making. So do check that out. The final feature I'd like to highlight is the training page at askjan.org on the far right side of the navigation bar. The training page links to free, high-quality training materials offering practical strategies and expert insights to inform and empower HR professionals, managers, and accommodation coordinators. You can register to attend Jan Live webcasts or access training content in the webcast series library. We have e-learning resources, role play type videos for training purposes, and also a solution showcase video series section. And these materials are copyright free and may be used, shared, or customized for training and development purposes, perfect for personal learning or building your own training sessions. So please do explore these training options and resources anytime at askjan.org. All right, just about finished with the Jan tour. But if you are seeking ways to stay informed and up to date on accommodation and disability employment topics, Jan offers the information you need. The Jan newsletter delivers curated insights, timely updates, and practical takeaways straight to your inbox in a concise, high-quality format designed to keep you informed. And you can subscribe to that newsletter at askjan.org. You can also follow Jan on social media for real-time updates and new resources and practical tips that you can use right away. Find the Job Accommodation Network on Facebook and LinkedIn, and Jan at Jan on X, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Jan Information, for free access to effective training resources. Lots of great stuff there. Now, I'll end the segment on Jan by reminding everyone that receiving direct assistance from Jan is simple and convenient. All you need to do is call toll-free at 800-526-7234. You can use the live chat at askjan.org or email us at jan@askjan.org. You may also use the general email submission options that are found on our contact page, or we also have a Jan on Demand email form on the website, which gathers some additional details. So simply go to askjan.org for more information. And now, Wendy, it is my pleasure to invite you to talk about the services and resources available through Jan's sister project. Earn. Thanks.
Thank you so much. If you go to the next slide for me, thank you. It is always our pleasure to work with you and your team. Our services are really very complementary in serving employers, so we always appreciate the opportunity to work with you. So now we're just going to go through a little bit of the earn resources. I know everybody always is aware of Jan. And because we have a slightly smaller service community, right? We mainly serve employers and people working for employers to improve access for all employees and make sure that all employees really have access to the tools and the technology and jobs and meetings and all of that good stuff that makes up people's day to day and their work life. If you go to the next slide. All right. So, Earn, the Employer Assistance and Resource Network on Disability, was established in 2009. So, after Jan was established. And we offer information and resources to help employers recruit, hire, retain, and advance people with disabilities. And that's really our area of focus is that employment life cycle. So recruit, hire, retain, and advance. Um, we are a National Technical Assistance Center provided by the U.S. Department of Labor's Office of Disability Employment Policy, and our home is askearn.org. So you can visit us anytime. We have an incredibly resource rich website at askearn.org. And that's really kind of the central passport into Earn. Our website has a really great search feature. So you can go in to the search bar and put exactly what you're looking for. We feature the 4 pathways on our homepage. So we have a boulevard for recruiting employees. We have a boulevard for hiring employees, um, for retaining employees and advancing employees. And each of those stages are just so important to making sure that people with disabilities can not only get into employment but also succeed and thrive and continue to grow in employment. So let's just say you want to know about how you can host accessible meetings. If you search that in our search bar, you will find a lot of resources that help you do that. So we really just tried to make it user friendly for everybody. If you go to the next slide, we have also a relatively small team, but we have a lot of subject matter experts in different areas. We have experts who work in federal policy and mental health. We have disability data experts and recently added a data page on our site to help employers understand the picture of disability data where they're looking to hire employees. We have research expertise. We have expertise in disability at work and workplace access, and also neurodiversity in the workplace. We are located at Cornell University and the Yang Tan Institute on Employment and Disability. And YTI has been around for about 60 years working on employment for people with disabilities. So, we bring a long history of work in this area. If you go to the next slide. Earn works in a kind of a slightly broader area. We do really all aspects of the employment life cycle. We look at how do you build accessible technologies. We look at mental health in the workplace. We look at the business benefits and how do you retain people. So it's a pretty broad scope. We work a lot with partners. So we work with the Federal Exchange on Employment and Disability. We work with several business groups, and we also look to partner with our fellow ODEP, TA, and policy centers, which is why Tracy and I keep getting together. We do a lot of research, and we have a dedicated research team. This year, they're looking at the business benefits of hiring people with disabilities, and we're also looking at supporting employee mental health because we feel like that's a really important issue. We're doing tool and resource development all the time. We do briefs to translate our research into practice, and then we do also tools to support practical implementation of effective practices. So those tools that not only tell you here's what the research says and here's why it's important to you, but also here's how you make it work for your company. And we think that that's a really important thing to be able to do because, you know, every business is different, different culture, different people, different systems and supports. And we really like people to be able to tailor our recommendations to their environment. We think that's really important. And as I said, we have wonderful website and communication supports, which is how we're able to offer such a comprehensive website. We do work with Concepts Communication to do all of our social media, all of our newsletters, things like that. So we're very lucky to have them help us. If you go to the next slide. Does EARN provide TA? We do. We don't have a dedicated phone line, but you can email us at earn@askearn.org if you have questions. We can organize a time to talk on the phone if you need us. We want to be there to support you. We just operate a little bit differently than Jan, so just reach out to us via email if you need any support. We also have a form on our website that you can use to contact us. All right, we'll go to the next slide. We also have learnings. Ours is named after Dinah Cohen, who was a leader in disability and federal communities who passed away in March of 2018. She was really committed to creating a more accessible world for people with disabilities. And she was the first director of the DoD, the Department of Defense's Computer and Electronic Accommodation Program. So we were honored to name our training center after her. Our training center includes self-paced training, live webinars, training archives, and just a lot of links to a lot of our tools. So please do go and feel free to explore that. There's a lot of rich information there. All right, like Tracy, I want to highlight a few of our tools that you might find helpful. The first one I wanted to highlight was the Disability Work Framework. This framework is kind of a comprehensive path for companies to welcome applicants and enable employees with disabilities to thrive. It outlines the core components and provides a menu of strategies to support employers as they work to ensure access for all people at work. So the first piece of that pie is Lead the Way, and it talks about how to build a culture that's supportive of people with disabilities, and how to ensure that your leadership is really leading that charge. The second piece of that pie is called Build the Pipeline. And it helps to ensure accessible outreach and recruitment by developing relationships with recruitment sources so that businesses have a pipeline of people who can help meet their hiring needs on a regular basis, that they have those relationships. The next piece is hire and keep talent. Not only does it ensure talent acquisition is working for applicants with disabilities, but it also looks at retention process, such as personnel systems and job descriptions, making sure that those are accessible to all applicants and employees. Technology plays such a huge role in the lives of employees on a regular basis. You need to take time off, you do that online. You need to communicate with people, you do all of that online. So having accessible systems is really so important in making sure you can retain people. The next piece of the pie is called Ensure Productivity. And this is where we often will recommend the Job Accommodation Network resources, because Ensure Productivity is all about providing accommodations because employees with disabilities may need them to do their job effectively. And in this section, we also talk about things like assistive technology and other accommodations that may support people. The next piece is called communicate. It's about implementing methods for effectively communicating your organization's policies and practices, both internally and externally, so that people know about your commitment to ensuring that all staff can really be successful. Then we have Be Tech Savvy. And this is where we talk about creating a barrier free workplace by maintaining accessible information and communication technology and really taking steps to ensure that your workplace is both physically and digitally accessible to all employees. We are strong believers in data, so the seventh piece of the pie is called measure success. What are those accountability measures that you can put into place by adopting written policies, practices, and procedures and tracking their effectiveness in order to identify areas for improvement? And the final section is just resources, additional links that you can go to learn more about all of these things. Okay, if you go to the next slide. Thank you. We have a toolkit on neurodiversity in the workplace. It's really looking at how you can recruit, hire, retain, and advance neurodivergent workers. And this toolkit is really helpful when you're starting a program. It gives people some of the basics. It defines neurodiversity and neurodivergent, but it also talks about those organizational benefits. Why should you do this? So if you're starting a program to hire neurodivergent workers, it's a great thing to be able to show to your managers, to show to your workforce and say, here's what we're doing and here's why. It also talks about some of the employee benefits. There's some critical practices to making neurodiversity in the workplace work. Things like management, peer training, and mentoring support are really important. So we make sure that we explain how they help these programs to be successful. We also talk about the importance of hiring initiatives and partnerships. And we talk about the Neurodiversity at Work Employer Roundtable and provide some resources to help people be successful and, again, to learn more. If you go to the next slide. Our next kind of feature tool is the Workplace Mental Health Toolkit. This is arranged around the 4 A's: awareness, accommodation, assistance, and access. It talks about why addressing employee mental health and wellness is really essential to workplace retention. The tool helps employers to demonstrate a commitment to employing people with disabilities and offers workers the support that they need to meet mental health needs. And it also empowers employees to deliver their best on the job. Again, tons of links to other resources. And this is a tool, much like Tracy mentioned, that we're continuing to build out and to add content to make sure that people are fully aware of all of the current research, all of the current knowledge they need to be successful. If you go to the next slide, want to talk about our small business toolkit because small businesses tend to operate differently than large businesses. So the small business toolkit helps small businesses build their talent pipeline and meet their workforce needs. Again, we talk about why you should hire people with disabilities. What are some of the advantages and benefits? It gives an introduction to disability at work to help ground people in what's real around disability at work, right? There's a lot of myths out there. So we like to break up those myths right away. And then it also offers additional resources to support small businesses in their journey to welcoming all employees. If you go to the next slide. On this page is just a few of the resources that I love myself. So I wanted to share them with you. Performance management is, I think, one of the most important things that leaders do for their team. Managers play a huge role in that. So this is a great tool just to help managers understand the role that their feedback and their coaching helps people with disabilities advance in their careers. There's also the substance use disorder in the workplace. This is an issue that's becoming increasingly more common. So it's very important for, I think, workplaces to understand some of the major issues that can arise in this area and how they might approach addressing them. And then another of my favorites, mentoring. It's really an effective strategy to promote retention and advancement for employees with disabilities. Again, it's so critical to EARN's mission. So we wanted to include that here. If you go to the next slide. Much like you can with Jan, you can stay connected to EARN through our mailing lists. And then we have a Facebook page, an X page, x.com/AskEarn, and a LinkedIn community that we hope you will join. We hope also we have a webinar upcoming on February 18th from 2 to 3. It's entitled From Awareness to Action: Suicide Prevention in the Workplace. So please do join us for that. You can find the registration information on askern.org. All right, Tracy, thank you for the time and letting me highlight some of EARN's resources.
You bet. Thank you so much. Always appreciate it. EARN is really such a great resource for employers, and we do encourage everyone to take advantage of the information and the support that they offer. Well, today we highlighted the services and the resources provided by Jan and EARN, again, to empower workers with disabilities, employers, and also policymakers to set high expectations and retain talent and put productivity enhancing accommodation practices into action. Now, both Jan and EARN are free, practical resources designed to reduce uncertainty and save time and support sound decision making. Employers don't need to be experts on these resources. We're here to help you focus on running your business while managing workplace needs effectively. So turn to us. We'll be happy to help. Now, Dan and EARN collaborate to support employers across that full employment life cycle. So from hiring through retention and advancement. We just kind of want to explain, we are two different services. We meet different needs, but we do work together and we complement one another, as Wendy said earlier. So Jan provides that case-specific guidance, helping employers handle individual situations with practical job-focused accommodation ideas and explanations of the ADA, confidential and at no cost, of course. And then EARN offers broader resources and tools to support hiring and staffing and HR practices, including small business toolkits and guidance and everyday workforce management. But together, Jan addresses individual accommodation needs, while EARN helps employers strengthen their overall staffing and their retention processes. So together, we're really the full package, right, Wendy? So EARN might refer
That's
to
exactly right, Tracy.
yeah, EARN may refer employers to Jan for specific cases, and Jan may suggest EARN resources to improve policies. So, but together again, these two technical assistance centers, they really help employers and others respond confidently in the moment and while building stronger long-term practices. So do take advantage of us. We are here to help. With that, it's time to wrap up this Jan and EARN outreach presentation. Wendy, I thank you for joining me for this to be able to share this important information about Jan and EARN. We really haven't had an opportunity to just get information out about both services and really focus on what we do. So it certainly has been a pleasure working with you as always, and the EARN team, of course.
Absolutely, Tracy. You know we're here anytime you need us.
Yeah. Attendees, thanks so much for your time and your attention today. We appreciate you. Please take advantage of these free and trusted services and resources. You can learn more by visiting askjan.org and askearn.org. And of course, please share these great ODEP funded services and resources with someone you know, someone who can benefit. So do pass it along. And with that, we thank everyone for joining us today. We again appreciate you, and we hope that you'll contact and use these great resources. So this concludes our outreach event.